Alright, let me get y'all up in the mount before we get a bunch of folks here. We'll let that mount go in.
Why is this cast packed with liquid?
That is like too loud. Alright. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. Try not to get y'all seasick and get us set up here. Get this stuff mounted and get me a permanent camera and whatnot eventually, and we won't have to do this every time. Alright. We got somebody here. Good morning, good morning. We're going to get with doing some cedar again today. I'm going to turn these into little dab spoon deals. And then I'll probably go after a couple of roach clips too. But this is a little mushroom dab spoon. And then here's another little dab spoon. That's what we're going to be doing this morning. So here we go. Got everything pretty much set up. Let's see, we got everything ready. Make sure I got everything handy before I start. I got all my papers. This is another one we're going to run this one through. Once we knock that cedar down, I'll put this one on there and see what we can do. This is epoxy colors my wife picked out. She had fall colors in mind, so it's like a gold, a coffee, and an orange. We need the occupancy glasses and we're ready. Alright, here we go, y'all. Hope everybody's had an awesome morning. I got my dust mask on. Set my dust collector up. And we are going to get with it. Hope everybody's had an awesome weekend. And I hope your Sunday is fantastic. But here we go.
to square up the ends. We're good now. Hey, good morning, Bob. Hope you're doing good today. Uh-oh. Hold on a minute, y'all. What did we do? There we go. There we go. There we go. I am doing good, but it's still dark here. The sun hasn't quite come up. It's working on it though. Hey, good morning, Josh. good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Oh no, I'm not done. I'm getting there. These little pieces, once I get them round, they don't take long. Just getting them back to 3 rounds. Hey, good morning, Renner. Alright. I'll go with 400 and 600. It's pretty smooth. Got 1,000 yet? A little bit of 1,500 and then we'll put some polish on there.
So just a little bit of polish. I got to be careful and not get a whole lot on the very end of it just yet, because it's interfering with my resin. I did a clip yesterday and it didn't want to stick good. I had to sand the tip of it just a little bit because that the oils was making the epoxy not want to bind to it. But right there, I have to just back off. I'll do the rest of that after I glue it up. It's gonna have some nice color in it, y'all. Just to about right there. Nice. I'll poo on it. We'll just put some down in there. If I don't do it all right now, it's not gonna look the same once it's sealed up. So I'll just mix some 5-minute epoxy together, and then when I drill the hole out, I'll make sure some of it gets down in there. More polish. Ooh, the weekend is about over. I hope everybody had an awesome weekend and got everything done that they needed to get done.
Hey, y'all gotta quit talking about coffee. This is my coffee right here. I normally wake up and have me a cup or two, but I've been waking up and making these early morning lives my coffee. Alright, this one here is about done, y'all. Of course, after I get done with everything this morning, I'll go back to my drill press, drill it all out, and get it ready for the spoon. Oh, this has got some cool color, y'all. Alright, here we go. Look at that. So look at the cedar. I love cedar. This is why I like cedar so much. There's so many awesome colors right through there. Oh, man. What I got going on? A little piece of tear out. Alright, hold on. We'll fix that real quick. I got to start doing this. I need to start inspecting them before I polish them up. Make sure I don't have any tear out. EW, is that Central Time? Eastern Time. Okay, cool. I'll try to. I'll go back through. That's gonna be. Is that gonna be your channel or the Land's channel? I'll go back through and make sure my notifications are on. The Land's. All right. All right. I had to get that little bit of tear out right there. And it just cleared up some, so I'm gonna go through with just a little bit of sandpaper and try to get just that edge and then put the wax back on there and get some of this dust All right, let's see. There we go. You go straight to a little bit of 600 and try to keep it just on that spot. And then we'll put a little bit of polish on there. Now we're not take much. I'll get me some shine juice made up here sooner or later.
We'll go through all that stuff on the 13th. I'm crossing my fingers that I sell several sticks, because that's all going right back here into the channel. I got to get some shellac, some denatured alcohol, because I do want to start hitting these with some stuff besides the Yorkshire. The Yorkshire just brings out those colors, but a shellac or something like that will do the same thing. And then that shellac will fill in some of that tear out when I get a little too heavy. Alright, I gotta sand a little bitty nub off the bottom and drill it, and this one's done. Oh, it's not. Alright, that's got to be the grain. It's like it's the green trying to pop out, because I got that down and it's still showing back. Goodness. And then I'll just waller that around a little bit to sand that down just a touch before I put the epoxy in there, and then I should have a spot for it to stick to. Awesome colors, I like that. Alright. Thank you. We'll do one more like that and then do a roach clip, or jump straight to a roach clip and then back to a dab spoon. Either way, that's what I got ready. This is the other piece of that. I just went ahead and cut it in half. And see, this is all advertised as firewood splits. That's why it's all uneven and wonky on the shapes and stuff like that. And I could go back with my bandsaw and trim it up, but I mean, the lathe is going to do the same thing if I just go at it easy. But I'll look right through here and see how much meat I have and try to imagine my circle, and then I'll pin it like right in the center, and then I'll try to do the same thing down here and get as much meat in there and then try to pin right in the center. And it might be off a little bit, but it'll still true up. Thank you, Woodturning. I hope everybody's having an awesome morning. Please hit that like, subscribe, throw me some comments out there. All that good stuff. I'm still trying to figure out a decent time slot for these lives. I was nervous as all get. I'm still nervous doing the lives. I'm just getting a little better at it. But I would like to try to set up and do at least one a day. I think the early morning, hey Matthew, good morning. I think the early morning time would be my best time to try to schedule in at least one a day, because that way I'm not interfering with nothing here in the home life. And seems like I'm about the only one on this side that gets up early and tries to do the lives. I dang sure been cramming the airwaves with lives, but I'm far from the king of lives. I'm gonna give that to Raja. Raja, that man right there, that is a wood turning machine. I will go with his name, King. That man can do it. I like watching him. He's got some cool little small pieces he does on his shorts. You don't ever see him do his intricate stuff in his lives. He's always spinning them handles and yeah, all them shovel handles and tool handles when he's doing his lives. But he'll pop up some shorts every now and then, and he got some awesome little pieces. See, he's trying to move that around some before I pin it and get that grain to split. That'll work right there. Yeah, he showed up in one of my lives not long ago. That surprised the mess out of me. I was excited. I think it's crazy cool how YouTube can, ooh, that's too close, how YouTube can bring so many people from so many different areas together. I wish we could act like that on the damn streets with everybody instead of being daggum crazy like we all are. Well, I'm sorry, I can't say like we all are, but you know how it is. Most people out there is just too damn paranoid, and yeah, it's crazy. Everybody out to get everybody. We need to all be out to help everybody.
I think that's what we need. Pick up, love, and help. World would be so much better. Was that Grumpy always dropping them pieces and everything? Mr. Johnny drops them. Dad drops them. Yes, sir. The wannabe hippie in me says peace and love, not war. All right, y'all. Let me get a little more coffee. You can tell I'm still sleeping over here. Now, we had a local church around Halloween time put in a little pamphlet, candy, and some goodies in the bag in everybody's mailbox. And I got 2 of these little guys in a bag, and I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if they'll bleed, like if the color will bleed off of them or whatnot, but I am going to turn some of my smaller pieces, and I'm going to try to leave a flat edge on one and then get this little guy mounted to it, and then do a couple of clips and do the clear epoxy around the wood, and then turn all that and shape it. But then when you polish the end, have these little guys standing there. I think it's pretty cool. I think that's what I want to do to them. That, or make some type of like just like something like that, you see people make the little eggs and everything. I've never done anything like that, and I've always wanted to do something like that, and those little guys are about the perfect size for how I work, so might turn out pretty neat, right? Let's see, I make it into like a little keychain thing too. Like I said, if I made it like a little egg deal, let's see, because I mean the little guys aren't big. Here's a little lighter cover reference. I did a little guy in clear resin, and then made him into like a little shape, and then had a little cap on there for a keychain or something, and could attach it to the keychain. I mean, there's all kind of stuff you could do with it. But it's pretty neat though. I do like them. They sit up there on my shelf and watch me while I work. All right, one more sip of coffee, and I'm gonna mask up and get this knocked down real quick. All right, here we go. All right, Caleb, you have a good day. Be safe up there, buddy. Thank you for coming by. I love some cold pizza for breakfast. Hello, you're happy in your new happy place. There we go. Good morning, welcome. good morning, Tim. Hey, good morning. All right, thank you for coming by. Happy place. Please hit that like button and come back anytime. Little spot right there. Right there. It's gonna look good. Alrighty, W, have a good day. Thank you for coming by. I'll be tuning in tonight or this afternoon. Still feel that tear out on the end right here. Oh, it's just that rough spot. No, that's the tear out. Okay, it's just big. Alright, we almost nearly up now. Hey, good morning, Mr. Johnny. Thank you for coming through. Hey, good morning, Deland. I'm gonna go 400. $600. I don't see any tear out, so hopefully it's gonna be good. Go with a little 1,000. With a 1,500, and then we'll put some polish on it.
Turn the noisemaker off now.
And take the mask away.
Turn this down. A little bit of the Yorkshire polish, and now y'all, this is the good spot because the grains are fixing to come just jumping straight on out of there. Look at it, look at it. Look at it jumping straight into my cup of coffee. I love the way Cedar just pops. Y'all can't see it yet. You see, if you saw the first one, you know the colors. Same piece of wood here. I just cut it in half.
I gotta go back after the live and make sure the bottom's flush and then get that itty bitty nub off of there. I might need to go back and resand this one all together. I can see a bunch of lines in it still. Let's see if this don't help. Yeah, I think I might go back after this and redo this piece a little bit with the sanding. I rushed through this one on the sanding and it didn't get as good. It'll tell on you. That's the thing about it. If you rush in your sanding, it's going to tell on you when you put your finish in there. And this one is telling on me. Yeah, see, I don't know if y'all can see that on camera, but see the lines in it right in there. It's an awesome piece. I gotta go back through. I'll let this one sit for a little bit, and then I'll go back through and sand it down. As I jumped straight to what, my 400 and my 600, and I didn't stay on those grits too long because I thought I'd got it smooth enough with my cutter. I mean, it's smooth, but yeah, I just need to sand it a little bit more, but it looks awesome, yo. And I'll drill it out right there, and I'll put my spoon in that piece. Oh, there we go. I was out of camera a little bit. I love the colors in that. But let's see, get it right here in a darker spot. You can see like right there where it's kind of dull and then kind of shiny in there. Yeah. Quality control. I got to get better at the sanding. Good morning, Cindy. Thank you for coming through. Well, it's evening over there. I think. All right. Let's see where I want to go with this piece. This piece is a little closer to what we're doing here. I'll be right back. Well, I'll be here, but I gotta do something. Alright, I'm back. I had to mute that. 3:10 p.m. Oh shoot. It is 7:10 a.m. here. And my wife just woke up and was letting the dogs out. And she's not an early person, so I was asking her what she was doing up. I thought she might have set an alarm. She says, I have no clue. I'm awake. I'm on the other side of the house, so I know my mess isn't waking her up. But it is what it is. All right, let me babble, get a little coffee. And looky here, anybody just now tuning in, this was the first piece, and then this is the second piece. Same piece of wood. I love the colors in that cedar. It's just got some awesome colors right there. So yeah, I still have my center marks right here. And so yeah, after the live, I'm going to come back on here and get in there with some sandpaper and just get with it for a little while. Zone out sanding that. This one come out okay. But like I said, I jumped the gun and rushed this one on the sanding. But that's cool. That kind of reminds me of, yeah, that's where. So I know I seen that design somewhere. That's my Dremel wrench holder I made. I did it out of a cheap piece of pine, but it's something similar to that. But I Lichtenberg burned this one and sloppy filled it with some resin so it'll glow. But yep. All right, we're just gonna do us a roach clip now.
moving stuff out of the way here, get the box ready, so we might be able to tie this one in the video. There we go. Let's see, which piece do I want to use? I got so much cedar and every single piece is different. Let's see. I'll go with this one. Are you staying up, going back to sleep?
I'm up.
Up. All right, we're gonna have a little washer dryer noise going on in the background. Wifey's woke up and says she don't know what woke her up, but her feet are on the ground, so she is awake now. Put my dust mask back on. Okay, now I'm gonna spin this piece into a roach clip, so it's gonna take me a minute to beat it all around, but then once I get it true round, shaping it up won't take long then. But I'll be somewhat aggressive knocking it down, but then once I do get it round, I got to ease up on that aggression so I don't have much tear out as well. Oh. All right, let's get back at it for a little bit. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Please hit that like button, leave me some comments. I drop a regular video every Wednesday. There's no telling what it'll be. It might be epoxy, it might be wood, I might be wood burning, I might be relief carving, we never know. But right now, a majority of it is for sure roach clips. So enjoy. Thank you. Turn that off so those bigger pieces will settle in the bucket or they'll beat and bang over there. I got my shop vac runs down to a 5-gallon bucket with a dust deputy on top of it, and it's about time for me to dump it out. All right, here we go.
got a big old tear in it. Give you a sneak peek of the grain while I look at it here. Yeah, see, it's still got a big deep spot right there. Almost round everywhere else, a little flat right there, but a little flat there. Basically right there in this corner. I got to turn that down some, so it's going to be, let's see, be about a little bit smaller than a quarter in diameter once I get it knocked down. I got to get that. That's the worst spot right there. It's just deep. Whew, cedar everywhere. I hope everybody's having an awesome morning. Thank you for tuning in. I love all the support. Thanks to turn all the noise back on and get with it. Hey, good morning, Steve. Hey, thank you for coming through. I still got a big old chunk. I still got a big chunk of tear out right here. I'm trying to get it rid of. Got the flat spot out of it. I just got that little bit. We're almost there, and then I can shape it up. That's gonna fire on out, be more tear. Hey, good morning, Brian. Right there still. That's what I did this morning. That's cedar. There we go. Wow, that thing is deep. Where's my pencil now? hope everybody's doing good. Please hit that like button. to fix that yesterday. Hold on a minute, Hobo. Hang on, everybody. It's not letting me get to my check. Where is my check? I don't know. I can't find my check. Hobo, I'm going to get you set in there as a moderator. It's not dropping my chats on my phone up here. It's only on my other account, and I can't do moderation through that account. I'll get y'all set up after this live. Anybody wants to drop Hobo or Cindy's link, y'all go ahead. Drop your own links, all that good stuff. I'm not sure how I want to do that. Oh well, not even, but it broke it up a little bit. Whew. me see what I gotta do real quick. Hold on now. I don't like that. Way too aggressive and it's too nasty and all there. That's pretty rough right there. Alright, this is what we're gonna do.
notice how to take that on down with the paper. I don't want it to flare up no more. I think I got all the tear out of this, and I can sand that down, and the rest of it looked okay. That shit's not gonna work out. $240. $320. $400. $600. $1,000. $1,200. $1,500, almost polished on. They're starting to varnish it now because of the finer grit. washing machine beating and banging back there.
Alright, get out of this daggone dust mask. Last time bit, the last bit micropaste. Turn your lathe down as low as you can get her to go for this, so you don't sling it off everywhere. And still it's going to sling, so just get it on there a little bit at a time, and it'll tend to not sling it off as bad. That grain pops. My puppies is probably banging on the door for some food. They're on a strict routine. They eat about 7:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the afternoons. And then I make my smoothies in the mornings. I use blueberries and mixed fruit. A little extra stuff in it here and there, and my dog loves frozen blueberries, so every time I make a smoothie she has to have her. Yes, the polish does make it pop. I make my smoothie, she gets her blueberries. I give her 3. You think she just got a steak too, she loves those blueberries. A little bit more, and put a little more polish on there, and then I'll take it all off and we'll see what it looks like. Turn it down while I get all that on there. See, when I make my shine juice and that shellac, just how shiny and glossy it is right there, that's what that shellac will do as I put it on. And then that'll fill up any of the tear out that I might have with the cedar. I don't know. Right now with this polish, it's going to fill any tear up with a little bit of white until I dig the paste back out. But that's okay, it still looks nice. Here we go, I'm going to burn it on in there. Ooh, squeaky, squeaky. Get a clean cloth. Put a lid on my face. And it's just clean dry cloth, and we'll take the excess off of there. And then a day or two it'll lose some of that shine, because that polish and wax will absorb, the polish, I guess, the oil will absorb on in there and lose that sheen some. But it's going to have that natural cedar smell and stuff to it still. That's what I like about it. Alright, y'all. Fixing to shut her down. Nice. It does not look bad at all. Some tear out in there still. I can tell that. You can just see the haze from the polish. I'll rub that down real good before I'm done with it and get all that out of there. Oh, where's my wrench? On there. Okay. There we go. Not bad, y'all. Not bad. Awesome. And then I have these here to go with it. There will be my dab spoons. Let's see. I'll drill it out like I did this one. Insert that spoon in there. I don't know, but I'll do it to these pieces. And that's cedar. That's just awesome in the colors in that piece of cedar right there. Almost has like a black walnut look or something. But yep, that's what we did this morning. And I'm gonna go ahead and shut down, y'all. I'm gonna cut this off right here, cut it off here. I'm gonna polish the end up. I'm gonna tie my roach clip on there. Let me show y'all a finished clip. If anybody's new out there and wants to know what my roach clips are, here we go. This is one tied up and done. This is another piece of cedar. And this is, see how it loses some of that shine? I mean, it still has some shine, but not as much. It soaks into it. And then some pieces, that's just the color. You know, even with fresh oil, it won't go that dark. You know, that's the cool thing about cedar is every piece just reacts a little different. But, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next time I go live, I'll try to set it up where we can actually go through and spin the clip and polish it and then tie it all on the same time. But let me unplug that there. Get everybody seasick for a minute. But all right, check out those channels up there. I got one of my old mail videos. I'll have all my links to all these channels in there, and the same thing with all these channels right through there. Oop, camera mount out of the way. But yep, all these channels are awesome. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the live. Y'all have an awesome and blessed day and stay safe out there. Thank you.